Hey everyone, happy summer solstice. We made it. We made it past eclipse season. Everything that happened over the past few weeks. I'm not sure if you have been feeling it, but I have definitely been feeling like so much time has been going by. And also, like, we are now at the end of June. Like, that eclipse season went by so quickly, but in the thick of it, it did not feel like that so much. So with us now in this summer solstice, for us in the northern hemisphere and for our friends in the southern hemisphere, of course, it's the opposite. But with solstice energy, breaking it down in Latin, sol meaning sun, and then the other part is derived from the Latin word sistere, meaning still. We're in this beautiful stillness phase, but I think is beautiful because literally today, June 20th, Jupiter is also stationing retrograde. Mercury is about to station direct. We have so many planetary bodies that are operating in this stillness, and now the sun is at this point, no matter where you are in the world, to create massive change. Where are you feeling called to shine? Where are you feeling called to stand in your power? Also, as well, of course, it's Father's Day today for most of us. I believe in Australia they celebrate Father's Day in September. But again, that theme of leadership and showing up and power, it's all being represented today. So if you have something that you're really feeling called to show up for in your life, noting where you have been over the past few weeks, over Gemini season, and even the first half of this year, a lot of our thoughts and beliefs, how we think our mental health, were very activated during this eclipse season, as it should be. So now that we can fall into our heart space for Cancer season, for Leo season, to start shifting, to start integrating everything that we've been learning and start alchemizing it. And for those of you that are in the southern hemisphere, where it's the shortest day of the year today, you can think to maybe the themes of darkness. And if you want to be a light worker, energy worker, you know how to operate in the darkness, where there's the most growth in that magical dark phase, dark night of the soul. A lot of people want to get to that next level. Very few people want to do the work to get there. I kind of related to working out when you're doing sprint intervals or doing that last rep, where you honestly feel like your body will give out and you don't know if you have the strength to continue, but then you do. And you get stronger and stronger and stronger. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, sometimes being in that darkness where you don't know the outcome, where you don't have control. And I think all of us felt that way during eclipse season. I know I did. There are certain points where I was like, I cannot get out of bed. Like, my head would really hurt. This brain fog, a lot of old patterning and conditioning was coming up. Mercury has a lot of influence this year for me, so I was definitely honoring the resting and the slowing down. And this is a side tangent for everyone. I've spoken about this a lot, but one more time, that we're not demonizing any retrogrades or scapegoating them. I think it's ridiculous. It would be like saying that all blondes are stupid, and anytime someone that was blonde did something silly or naive, just automatically projecting it onto their hair color, like a lot of people do with retrogrades. I'm in the process of moving right now, and back in April, I was supposed to be subletting someone's home, a friend. It was all lined up, everything was perfect, and then not even during any retrogrades, it all fell through because of COVID, and I had to start back at square one, having no place to live, already giving my notice. And during this Mercury retrograde, I got to reevaluate, rethink, and challenge myself on what I needed for a home. And I got something way better, an amazing price point that's now going to be permanent versus a sublease. And my Wi-Fi, very Mercury, I'm now getting a faster Wi-Fi for cheaper, all during a Mercury retrograde. So stop listening to people that don't know what they're talking about. Use your own discernment and intuition now that we're moving into Cancer season, and really take these things for yourself. And a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, and myself have been feeling so drained and exhausted, or just kind of mentally unhinged. And so this is a time to bring it back to basics, to do the fundamental things that you need to do for your physical, mental, and spiritual health so that you can succeed. For those of us who are celebrating summer, the days getting longer, you want to be your best. You want to get to indulge in that hot girl summer. We're going to get to these transits. Things are moving in our favor. But if you give away all your time and energy to social media continuously and give away your power, autonomy, influence, and your opinions to other people, you're going to find yourself feeling stuck or not being authentic or just doing or saying what other people are projecting or trying to convince or manipulate you to do. So please don't fall for it. I know a lot of you are very intelligent and intuitive. Honor that. And I think across the board, no matter who I work with, who I study under, or reading testimonials from people that are the best in their field, yes, it's confidence, but it's also authenticity. How do you want to shine in this world with the solstice and the sun being still and it's shining bright? Where are you feeling called to shine in your life? And it may be one area where you really want to put a lot of emphasis and love into your health, into your home, into your relationships, into finding a new lover, and thus shining brightly within yourself. You're not going to have time to operate all these old relationships that don't understand your power. Remember, if we're talking about solar energy, the sun, we're talking about the solar plexus chakra. And a lot of times, and it's not meant to scare or to denigrate relationships, when you start to stand in your power, everyone else wants to see you not succeed. When they see you with maybe less resources, or you're younger or not as experienced, get ahead, it holds a mirror up to them as to why they're not succeeding if you're doing everything and getting the love, status, and acclaim. You want to make sure that whatever you're harvesting and you're building is authentic to you, so you're only attracting the love and the opportunities that are for you. I remember back when I was in university or going on dates with potential romantic love interest, I would talk about astrology. People were like, oh, you're into astrology? And you could just sense with the tone that they were skeptic or cynical. And my response would be like, oh, I'm into it a little bit, like not that much. And looking back on it, was so silly, but it was a way to protect myself from not assimilating or not being accepted or not being loved. But I was diluting a part of myself from attracting other people that loved and respected the things that I love and respected. And so there are certain signs that will maybe not have clear boundaries or give away their power to other people to get them to like them. Pisces and Libra sometimes are guilty of just always wanting to appease people and to make them happy. Not all. My Venus is in Libra. We want to make sure that you are showing up authentically and with purpose. And I think, and you can see this across the board, whether it's into live streaming with video games or spirituality or sports or baking cupcakes, whatever it is, when you're really into it and you love it, when you're literally operating at the frequency of love, no matter what the language, no matter who you are, what your background, age, people feel it. People want to be around that. People want to taste and to experience and to love that energy as well. But if you continually change your appearance, change how you work, change how you talk because of how other people want you to, including your family and friends, you're just always going to be stifling that energy. There's always going to be something off. And again, you're going to continually attract opportunities, friends, lovers that like that energy that's inauthentic to you, but you just think that you have to do it because of conditioning. I remember when I was growing up wanting to appease my family and my parents, I thought that I had to get a very high status job. I applied to dentistry. I wrote the dental aptitude test, the DAT. It was like my identity of wanting to be a dentist, wanting to be an orthodontist. And I knew it received praise and people always treated me with respect. And it conditioned me into thinking that that was the career I wanted to do. And that was only for maybe 10 years. Never mind if you've been conditioned by your family, society, whomever, into saying you have to do this. You have to engage with these type of people. That's decades of programming. That'd be like having a phone and having 30 years of pictures and videos and memories you now have to delete one by one. And selectively choosing which photos and which videos and which memories serve a greater purpose. So be kind with yourself as you're reintegrating. And also going back to the eclipses that we just had in Gemini and Sagittarius, what information are you gathering? What are your beliefs? What old beliefs are not working anymore with that South Node in Sagittarius? What new knowledge and information are you creating, taking in, disseminating? These are all things I want you to be aware of. And if you have a chance over the next week or so, especially with that beautiful Sun, trine, Jupiter aspect that we have, it would be advantageous for you to take time to reflect and to see everything that's happened over Gemini season, over the past 6 months, and even going back to May 5th, when the nodal axis shifted into Gemini and Sagittarius, to see what's coming up for you so you know exactly what it is you want. Love has been coming up a lot across the board. Clients, friends, family, everyone. Knowing what you want, knowing how you want to shine, knowing your authentic truth is going to attract the best, most aligned love for you moving forward. Not going to be seamless and easy. It can be. There can still be times for growth and integration, but all the matches, and even down to clients, I have other friends who are business owners feel like they have to work with certain people to pay their bills, which is completely untrue. I think there's something like 4.2 billion people online at any given time. With all this Saturn, Jupiter, and Aquarius energy later on next year, or pardon me, later on this year, technology, collective, friendship, these are all going to be things that are going to help you. We want to integrate the lessons that we're learning to shine and attract accordingly. Also, too, I know the music that you're listening to, the movies, the TV shows that you're watching, the books that you're reading, the posts and the creators that you're following are all influencing us at every single moment. I've been on a very big Catherine Hahn kick. I think she's amazing. She's like Agatha in WandaVision. Something about her is so authentic. If you just watch interviews with her, I know that a lot of celebrities and actors will have a certain way that they operate. You can see the energy in which she moves and how grateful and how authentic she is. And so last week I watched Bad Moms Kristen. I think she's hilarious. And then I felt called to watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which is like such a throwback. Those rom-coms from like the 90s, early 2000s. And she's so like Catherine Hahn in that part is phenomenal. And like watching her, and she had an interview that I watched as well with her whole audition process to get there and how a phone went off in the audition at like Paramount Studios. And she's like, like she just rolled with it and she's just so herself. And so, of course, I'm a little bit biased being an actor, but watching people in your field to see how they move, to see how they operate, to watch and study and to learn from people that are the best or that are successful or that are genuine or that all of the above can help you to understand what energy looks like, feels like, tastes like, smells like. You can incorporate all the senses so that that is what you're attracting. That is your new minimum. Friends that have not held a successful, loving relationship or career, taking on their advice about love or business, you could take it under consideration, but I would not hold on to it and give it such care and attention. Versus experts that work with clients in those fields every single day, or people that have been there, have done it for decades. Also, one last thing, Kate Hudson, I almost forgot how beautiful she is. I looked up her chart, Cancer rising, Jupiter exalted in Cancer, conjunct her ascendant, Aries sun, exalted again, and then Pisces exalted Venus exalted in Pisces, trining her ascendant. Like, she just had the best chart. And like Cancer risings, as we segue into Cancer season, Kate Hudson, Cancer rising, Julia Roberts, and Cameron Diaz. Like, I just feel like Cancerian energy is just so beautiful, almost effortlessly. Just like how the moon is beautiful no matter what phase she is in. So I make it no secret that I love Cancerian energy. I love Cancer. I think there's just something so beautiful about how selflessly they give and how they love and how kind and nurturing. I always say with Cancers, when they ask you, how are you? They genuinely want to know. They actually want to hold space for you. Out of all 12 signs, I feel like they are the most authentic when they hold space and not are just waiting for you to stop talking so that they can project or talk about their own issues. Very loving, like a mother, or like the metaphor of a well in a town that is literally supplying water to fuel everyone. And so as we move into Cancer season, in addition to being authentic, to shine, to find what areas you want to give more love, time, and energy into, with this beautiful water energy, especially for the next few days, I really want you all to make it more specific. Look to the part of your chart that is ruled by Cancer and is ruled by Pisces, given that we have this trine between the Sun and Jupiter, especially if you're a day chart. Jupiter comes your greatest benefic. If you have any prominent water energy or angles in your chart, these next 3 days will really show you, even if it doesn't manifest physically into your life, I'm sure it probably will, especially if you've been thinking about said areas, whether it's money, love, health, family, career, whatever it is. Very auspicious time. And like I said, everything's being still or transitioning in some way, shape, or form, with the Sun moving into Cancer, Jupiter stationing retrograde. On the 22nd, Mercury stationing direct. On the 24th, we have Neptune stationing retrograde. And then we have Venus moving into Cancer on the 27th of June, I believe. And then we also have the Capricorn full moon. So there's so many things that are shifting in this next week that it would be very prudent and advantageous for you to examine all of these energies so you know what's going to be coming. Intuition is going to be huge. Like I said, with everything that happened in Gemini and Sagittarius over this eclipse season, Mercury retrograde in Gemini, we did a lot of work around our mental health and cognition and belief systems. Now we're dropping into the heart space even more so with this dominant water energy. And even still, we have Mars in Leo. We're going to have Venus in Leo by the end of June. I will say, as we navigate Cancer season, and this has been a theme for all of 2021, but if you are a fixed sign, so Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, or Scorpio, particularly if you have any planets or angles between 10 to 15 degrees, please note that a lot is going to be coming to the surface because we have a lot of squares and oppositions that are happening in those fixed signs. We have that Saturn-Uranus square, which is a major theme for this entire year. And this is also good to push us out of our comfort zone, especially with Uranus and Taurus, and then Saturn and Aquarius, where it's right at home, to examine where our work, our mind, our money is not working for us and how we can shift that. We're seeing it huge with cryptocurrency. And I was even listening to a podcast about the economy. A friend was listening to it and I was in the car. So I was taking this all in, but how so many people after this pandemic, they're not going to go back to work at their minimum wage job where they know that they're not being respected, especially in the United States where that minimum wage is not livable. They're in no rush to go back to these low paying jobs where they're not being respected when they realize how much their time is actually worth. Is your time worth $9, $10, $12 an hour? Or do you know that you're so passionate and talented about something that you want to start your own business, have a second, third, fourth stream of income to take back that power? That's a really good way to use this Saturn-Uranus square for some of you if you've been out of work or you feel like you're drowning or struggling. That square between Saturn and Uranus, especially if you have fixed energy, you're probably feeling this push to move in a different direction. Again, trusting your intuition with this beautiful Cancerian energy in this Cancer season will really serve you well. We do have Mars currently making an applied opposition with Saturn, and when Venus gets there, primarily, and everyone will feel this no matter what your signs and your planets are in, but specifically fixed signs, between July 1st and July 10th, there's going to be a lot shifting. So please be mindful of that. Again, if you want even more specificity for you individually, look at these signs, or pardon me, look at the houses that are ruled by your fixed signs, because those areas of your life will probably be the most affected, or where you can see a lot of change. And again, squares and oppositions aren't bad per se, but they're going to elicit change or shifting of energy or friction where it might feel uncomfortable, kind of like when you're doing sprint intervals, or where you're really working hard at the gym or studying super hard for a course or an exam, but it creates a breakthrough or energy to start moving after said fact. And especially with Mars now in Leo, Venus about to move into Leo at the end of June, some much needed fire energy. And I love this in terms of our physical health, feeling more confident. It doesn't mean that you have to be going to the gym all the time, but moving your body, incorporating more fire magic, cooking more at home, or just going out to cook, being near a bonfire. Again, moving that solar plexus, moving your body, being in the sun. Please wear sunscreen. But you know what I mean, being outside, being in nature, grounding yourself in nature, allowing these beautiful downloads to come in, and separating ourselves from the noise and energy of certain devices or people or influencers that are just trying to grab your energy for themselves. You want to take that power back and to nurture yourself in the way that you need. And of course, nourishment with regards to love, heart, soul, body are huge with Cancer. And this is even just fact that Cancer is ruled by the moon. And so with that, and how the moon changes cycles, how we change the way that we need to be nourished, especially if you're taking everything you've been learning during the eclipse season and you're integrating it, there's going to be change. If you are starting a business from scratch, you're not going to be able to spend as much time with acquaintances or third tier friends, and not tier as in less than, but people that just can't hold space for you or that are consistently dumping on you. I've just seen this across the board, personally and for everyone else, people not asking for help or asking if said friend can hold space for them. And thus you're harvesting all this energy you're wanting to love and think that by helping people and just being a doormat, that's love, or that people coming to you is your only way of feeling that you're in service. No. I love Cancers. I love Cancers with boundaries even more. And that goes for everyone across the board. Learning how to say no, learning how to prioritize yourself, which I think is a great aspect of Leos and even the sun. The sun does not stop shining if there's clouds, it's raining, or snowing. The sun still shines. We're talking about the solstice today, right? Leos, being ruled by the sun, do not stop being beautiful, talented, loving, warm, protective, because other people are intimidated. I've never met a Leo that will back down with regards to their family, their beauty, their talent, their wisdom. They always shine. It's a great lesson to incorporate, and some people think that Leos are vain, prideful, narcissistic. I just think that they own it and they don't take less than they deserve. And I think that's what they're meant to do, to show us that we can all shine, to be in that spotlight and to be given praise, love, and attention. And also with Cancer season being a feminine energy, cardinal water, how do you receive love? How do you perceive love and attention in your mind? Do you think that always coming to someone's beck and call is normal? Or are you going to be open to receive new forms of love, energy, nourishment, analyzing your nutrition, what you are fueling yourself with regards to everything, media, film, thoughts, friends, family. You want to start thinking about all of these things so that when you move into Leo season afterwards, you're going to be feeling very confident intuitive, knowing how these energies work. It's all just going to be in complete alignment. This is how I would work with the energies that are coming through with the solstice. Take time to reflect over everything that has been happening over this past month and focus on your mental health. What have you learned? What are you now saying? What are you thinking? What information are you taking in? And how is that correlating to your belief systems? Again, this is all that Gemini and Sagittarius energy, probably even more prominent if you have dominant Gemini or Sag placements in your chart. Look to those houses and see what's been coming through for you over this past month, over this past eclipse season. And you can even reflect back to where you were in November to mid-December last year, because we also had the eclipses in those signs then. And then we're also still going to be dealing with this for the next 6 months. So it's not like we can clap our hands and be done with it. Your mental health, your belief systems, and the information that you're collecting are still going to be prominent. This is just like the dust settling, but sometimes you can't really see the outline yet. You have to go with that intuitiveness in that magical tart to trust that where you're going, even though you can't see it right now, even though no one else can understand it, you are trusting in it. Your beliefs are so strong that no one can fuck with you. Okay? Secondly, analyzing the past 6 months and even the past year to see what cycles keep repeating themselves, where you're feeling stuck, where you can see, am I being authentic? Am I shining in the way that I know I should be? Is maybe the way I'm processing and retrieving information helpful, or do I need to go back to the fundamentals? And continuing with health and those metaphors, if you have been stagnant or not prioritizing working out at that high of an intensity, and this is very true for a lot of us in this pandemic, and then go right back into the gym or start sprinting right away, your body needs time to recalibrate, or else there's a high risk for injury. And my Mars combust the sun, sometimes I'll go right into things at 100, and then it's like, nope, I need to slowly warm myself into those situations. So if you have a lot of Martian energy and you always want to go into things at a 10, this is a time where you can see if similar cycles and patterns haven't been working, how you can shift and slowly move into it, or go back to the fundamentals. Are you always going on social media when you're stressed or anxious? Are you going towards certain vices or addictions like sex, drugs, alcohol, shopping, work, instead of being still and working through these emotions? And I think with Neptune going retrograde, it's going to be a beautiful time for us to look at those vices and addiction and those cycles for when we're feeling overwhelmed and stressed emotionally and spiritually, given it's Neptune retrograde in the sign of Pisces, where we automatically go to. It's very easy when we feel uncomfortable or we're not getting validated or when we're stressed to go to an instant fix. Our society is literally propelling us to do that at any given time. I also think it's interesting from like a Hollywood perspective. From the beginning, it's always like the main character seen as masculine is drinking. Women are always drinking and celebrating. It's like always alcohol is affiliated. That's just my own kind of theory of how it's always been seamlessly integrated, that alcohol has been seen as cool, sexy, fun as a way to deal with everything. And then they get addicted. They keep paying pharmacare, health, the government. That's a whole other conversation. But really examining your vices and addictions and seeing where they're coming through so that you can work through those energies, whether it be from mental, spiritual, or emotional place, so they don't keep coming up and cycling through. Because you see it all the time. If you look to any of your current friends or relationships that you let go, a lot of times they cycle through the same dead-end jobs. They feel like they're always being attacked. They always feel like no one loves me. Everyone takes advantage of me. What are their beliefs? What are their actions? Often, people's words and their actions do not align. They want to get paid more. They want better love, but they honestly don't believe they're worth it because of deep-seated trauma, abandonment, betrayal. So a lot of times they have literally push that way down into their subconscious to not have to relive that trauma and that pain. And they're attracting these energies unknowingly. That's another conversation. But this is a great time with everything being still right now, all of these planetary shifts occurring, for you to see where you do want to put forth energy, what parts of your life can be enhanced, and what's physically within your power to do these things. And I think it's so funny how a lot of these spiritual accounts will be like, you can do it, manifest, mindset, but sometimes you're focusing on one aspect of your life for years. Saturn takes 2.5 years to move through a sign. So if Saturn is in your second house of money, sometimes it's going to take a bit for your finances and your beliefs around money to change. Sometimes your time lord is a malefic, or it's activating a very heavy part of your chart. So just from an astrological point of view, please give yourself some space to grow and to integrate, and thus to see these changes happen. Even from a lunar phase, you have a new moon, and then 6 months later, you have the full moon in that sign. Harvesting, when you plant crops, you plant them in the spring, harvest them in the fall. It doesn't always happen overnight. It can, but often those quantum leaps, overnight success, were years or decades in creation. So be sure that when you are making these shifts, and when certain energies or relationships keep coming back, oftentimes during retrogrades, as a way to test you and to reflect these energies to see if you're going to continually answer in the same way, or if you're going to take back your power and autonomy and not allow your friends, your family, your clients, your community, whomever, to project and to keep you small, to dim your light, to gaslight you into not trusting your intuition. And this can even just be from a general standpoint, that sometimes you think a mentor, a parent, a sibling, a loved one means the best for you, when sometimes, again, subconsciously, they're wanting you to be smaller than them or not to advance further than them because of their own pain. And I've listened to people in positions of power before, and my intuition was just like telling me, and sometimes it's like screaming at me, sometimes it's like a faint whisper. It's like, are you sure you should listen? Or are you sure you should invest in that person? And again, the brain is like, well, this person recommends them, or this person of power and authority is also successful. They've worked with said person. 1 + 1 = 2. Not always. The times when I have not listened to my intuition, and again, I have a lot of Scorpio, a lot of water, it's always bit me in the behind. And with, again, Cancer season being a beautiful water sign, of, again, being extremely intuition, it's a vibe. You can sense these energies when they're not authentically true to you. It could be good for 9 other people. It could be good for the rest of your family, community, everyone else. If it doesn't feel right to you, honor that. Of course, there can be learning how to discern between ego and fear and your intuition, but learning to honor those intuitions. And again, even when things don't go your way, even in situations where I didn't get a favorable result, there was still a lesson to be learned there. And now I know if I feel like that was purely intuition. The ego was trying to convince me otherwise because of fame, status, money, or any other aspect. The intuition was telling me otherwise. And again, not everyone's meant to understand it. You don't need to be telling everyone, period. I think we always want validation from other people. We want people to confirm that our beauty is acceptable, that our ideas are worthy, that we are enough. You have that power to give it to yourself every single day. Even when I started this business, my family was very skeptical. I was hearing things like, no one would pay for that. You are crazy to charge that much. Do you really think you can have a life doing what you're doing? From my own family. And I listened to many podcasts from other celebrities and titans and trailblazers, and they all went through the same thing where they had to decide if they wanted to conform and receive love from their immediate family or society, or trust that their vision and their calling was so much greater. And it pains me to like read testimonials or books or accounts where people stayed small to appease a lover or a family member and then regret it because they always knew I was meant to do this. And sometimes, again, it'll take years or decades for that goal to manifest. When it does, you are breaking generational curses. You are the one to show every subsequent generation and timeline for your soul to show that it's going to continue getting better and better and better. And sometimes that's just in one aspect of your life. Sometimes it's across the board. So please, please, please honor that and trust that when you are being called higher, whether that be on any given day, to stand up for yourself and to shine authentically, to trust that these downloads are for you. And sometimes you're not meant to share them because if someone throws in a seed of doubt, you're going to take that, even just 1%. Why would you want your dream to be taken down 1%? Why would you want your day to be 1% work because you were just trying to get an instant validation or fishing from a compliment for someone else? That doesn't make any sense. Once you start just trusting your own visions and your dreams and working with mentors and people that truly love you and want what's best for you, everything shifts. I've had so many times where I've confided in friends who I thought I could trust and love, and then I'm like, you can tell the tone and the jealousy or the envy in their response. And for me, it was a very good lesson that I don't need to share all my dreams with anyone. I already know full-heartedly that they're meant for me. They'll find out when they find out. When it's come to fruition, they will know. And if that doesn't resonate for you, that's fine. Of course, there is beauty in collaboration, in working with others, and holding a dream as a family, as a unit. It's very circumstantial. But when something is very new and in the womb, you want to protect it. Just like how when women are pregnant, a lot of times they don't tell people right away. They want to make sure that everything is protected. Women will literally make sure that they change their whole diet and lifestyle, what they put into their body, their sleep style, to protect what's inside. If we are fostering a dream and a vision, why would you then not change how you eat, how you move, how you protect that dream every single day? And I think that's a beautiful metaphor for Cancer season. It represents the breast and the stomach, the womb physically, but then secondly, it is the mama. And I think it's beautiful how pride falls into Cancer season. Always. The anniversary of Stonewall is always at the end of June. Cancer energy. One of my favorite memes of Cancer is like the crab with the gun. It's like Cancers can be so loving, but they will protect the people that they love so fiercely, which I think is also such a beautiful, undervalued trait of loyalty and love in kinship. I love Cancers. But these are all energies that you can work with. And specifically as we move from season to season, you want to incorporate those energies and see how you can learn. And we always kind of peg Pisces as people that are crying or an energy that's very emotional. Cancers and Scorpios. Scorpios kind of do it in private and don't want to be seen sometimes. But Cancer, it's like those deep, like belly aching cries where it's like you're crying for humanity, you're crying for joy, you're crying for the love that you know is coming. It's like if you're someone that shies away from emotion or someone that doesn't allow yourself to drop in, sometimes watching a very emotional movie or listening to that music to allow yourself to feel into your heart space, to feel into that emotional frequency that you want, it's very beneficial because then you're drawing in the energy of what you're wanting to feel and telling the universe, this is the frequency that I desire and nothing less. I always kind of compare it to like Carrie. I've used this example before, but like An American Girl in Paris Part 2, like one of the final scenes, she's like, I want that all-consuming love, like unapologetic, all-consuming. That is what I desire. That's your minimum with regards to love. It's like you're tuning an old-fashioned radio and like literally moving the dial to a specific number on that radio station. It's not 95.0, it's not 95.2, it's 95.1. That is the frequency for that radio station to listen to that music. You can shift the frequency of your beliefs, what you speak, and what you accept as love from yourself and from your others at any given time to experience the music, the energy of that frequency at any given time. Please trust and honor that, Because the more that you do, the more you uphold these boundaries, the more you trust your intuition, the greater you will shine. You will attract the people that reflect that and want to be around you. Anything less you don't have time for. And I understand that a lot of times you have to be pushed out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you're going to be sprinting uphill for what seems like years. You're like, I'm exhausted, I'm sweaty, I haven't eaten a proper meal, my legs are done. When is this going to get easier? There's going to be a day or a week or a moment when you look back on everything, you're like, I'm so happy that I did all those sprint intervals because now I can just easily hop down the street without getting tired. I'm meeting other people that are showing me beautiful destinations and beautiful trails that I don't get tired. I get to enjoy all this. I did all this hard work to enjoy with the people that actually understand me, with my community, my following, people that want what's best for me. You're not going to have time for people that can't even get off the couch. That is insane. You want to be around people that reflect your energy, and the more that you decide what you want, placing those boundaries and authentically just being you, no matter how weird or kooky or insane you may feel, I promise you, no matter what industry you're in, I've just seen it all the time. And I think just being in this line of work, having a lot of Scorpio energy and just seeing how people move and how people act, I'm drawn to their authenticity. If we look at even just prominent figures, of course, I'm a little bit biased. We have a lot of like Scorpio energy of like Brene Brown, Gabrielle Bernstein, Whoopi Goldberg, RuPaul. It's like that authenticity when so many people were working against them, or when people think it wouldn't work. They persevered. And a lot of those people, especially if we're talking about Scorpio energy for a quick second, there is a lot of addiction where all of those figures, except for I'm not sure about Gabrielle Bernstein, but had dark periods of addiction and vices. And so again, to tie in that Neptune piece, going retrograde and understanding where these addictions come from, where we indulge in vices, that again can be a beautiful energy to shift, because a lot of times we attract energy that can confirm that smoking weed occasionally is fine. I'm not denigrating people who smoke weed or just drugs or alcohol or partying or not showing up in the best way. If we continually do that, we attract other people that share those vices or share those belief systems. So note where that energy comes through for you with Neptune retrograding in a water sign, us being in Cancer season, especially at the end of June. We're going to be having Mercury now stationing direct and moving forward, but squaring Neptune in retrograde. So last weekend we had a very peculiar energy where we had Mercury retrograde squaring Neptune. Is very nebulous in the middle of eclipse season. It was a lot. Now with Mercury in its post-retrograde shadows squaring Neptune at the end of that month, there's just, like I said, no matter how we look at it from a transit perspective and the dust still settling from eclipse season, there's going to be so much happening this last week of June. So make sure that you're taking the accordable time. Also, Reiki would be a fabulous time to kind of do some of this energy and clearing, working with certain healers, kind of just doing like a spring cleaning, so to speak, on your entire energy and your entire being. Even if you want to do like a cleanse or a purging from nutrition wise, or like a fast responsibly, of course, or for those of you who already know how to do a fast, I think that would be a fabulous idea, just to completely tell your mind, body, and soul from every level that we are now completely purging and releasing to come to a point where everything that we're putting into our body in all forms is in alignment with what we're wanting for the second part of this year. So that would be the energy. And yeah, that Capricorn full moon that we're having on June 24th, I think will be a nice kind of like cherry on top, especially with Capricorn representing authority and finance and status and sometimes kind of ego in relation to money and our position, our career, really examining where am I in those fields of my life? How have I been approaching these energies and what is no longer serving me, so I can let that go. So when Venus moves into Leo, we have Venus and Mars in that sign. That really is, if we're talking about hot girl summer, Venus and Mars and Leo together, Cancer sun. We still have that nice trine between the sun and Jupiter for the beginning of June. It's like, or pardon me, the beginning of Cancer season. It's like boom, 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 boom. Lots of great energy to be had. Please, if you don't know or how this resonates, find what makes you happy, to find those moments of joy and passion in your life. And even though for me, it's like walking to my local coffee shop every morning and living my best life. enjoying that coffee in the morning brings me such joy. I also really have found how much I love reading instead of like reading content online on a small screen, like bring it back to books, just taking that time reading every single day. It just brings me so much happiness, and getting to do those things every day. Again, from a law of attraction standpoint, bringing in more things that spark joy and passion to your life. It can be something small, but for you, it means the world, and keeping those moments sacred. While also, if you feel called to come back to the basics, mind, body, and soul, meditation, gratitude, eating healthy, exercise are always prominent energies. I know some of us can fall off the bandwagon, fall off of our routine. I've been there. Everyone's been there. This is a great time to come back to those fundamentals to start growing and banking up that positive energy. Because with this beautiful Cancerian water energy, and then with Leo afterwards, we're calling in love, money, opportunity of all forms. And specifically with Cancer energy, remember, how do you nurture yourself? How do you treat yourself when things are stressful, when things aren't going your way? Do you project and commiserate with others? Or do you take time to do that inner work and to heal and see it as a lesson instead of a burden, or that you're a victim? Some people wear that badge of victimhood with pride and continually think they're the victim throughout their entire life, and thus will attract more situations, more conversations, and more opportunities where that is continually the case, because they keep thinking that. And a lot of times too, we learn certain things and how we view ourselves in the world from our parents. Again, Cancer being the mother. If you want to connect with your mother, your grandmother, other females in your life, and to see how you receive love and energy, that's basically another conversation, another post altogether. But that would be another beautiful way to see how you receive, is looking at your relationship with your mother, her relationship with her mother, or how you connect with your sisters or your own feminine energy. Because again, if we want to receive more money, love, and opportunity, we have to be able to identify what that feminine energy feels like, and where masculine or toxic masculine energy can sometimes unhinge us or take away the power from the feminine. And I mean, we very much live in a very straight, heteronormative, white, capitalist society. So we want to balance that out with all the other voices that are just as powerful and needed. And those are many of you watching this right now. So I want you to own your power and to create a world that we all get to enjoy, where we all get to shine, trust ourselves, to show that love and compassion to ourselves, and thus have be reflected by everyone else around us, okay? So that is what I feel called to share. I think those are most of the things I wanted to really reiterate. And again, please note that July 1st to 10th, I'm giggling because I have a lot of fixed energy in my chart, but if you have fixed angles or planets between like 10 and 15 degrees specifically, that July 1st through 10th, I'm sure you'll be feeling a lot of shifts and change, or maybe it might feel uncomfortable, or it might be a breakthrough moment. So kind of mark that accordingly, okay? If you have any questions, I'm just going to quickly go through this. General questions that maybe everyone will benefit, I'll try and answer those. And if not, thank you all again for coming. Please feel free to share this with other friends, family members that may resonate with this. If you feel called and want to leave a tip or a donation, always appreciated. I'm going to be getting the Cancer season tarot scopes up accordingly. So yeah, please let me know any questions at all. I will try and answer a few over the next 5 minutes or so. Otherwise, I will let you go and enjoy this beautiful Sunday to really drop into this. The sun technically will move into Cancer, I believe, around like midnight Eastern Standard Time. So we're still in Gemini season, which I think is a beautiful opportunity to reflect. I always do this personally at the end of every zodiac season. Reflect and see what major lessons came through and what I learned. And then you can flip back like a year from now and see what lessons came up specifically in that season, so you can integrate and grow from that if you feel called. So and again, when I say changes or huge shifts happening between July 1st and 10th, it doesn't mean anything bad. Squares and oppositions are just opportunity for change and shifts or friction that can cause huge expansion or create new opportunities to come. It's kind of like when you're lifting a weight and it's at that peak, at that 90 degree, it's like, oh, I can either keep going or let it go. But there is that friction, that heat that is needed to create something bigger. Trines and sextiles, it kind of just falls onto your lap, these energies. When it says square in opposition, these energies you can feel. It's like I can either continue. It's like, basically, if I'm being candid, it's like repeat or change, evolve or die. And not that drastic, but there might even just be one mindset or one relationship, or you simply have to choose A or B. So be aware of that over July 1st through 10th to see if those decisions, and it might even just be your own intuition. It's like, I can continue doing this or I can do this. It doesn't have to be something big and grandiose. It can be, but there will be an opportunity where there has to be probably a choice or an opportunity for change that can come at that point. And even just with regards to beliefs, attitudes regarding abundance, what does that mean for you? I think that can often get misconstrued where it's like 5 figures a month, millionaire by 30, whatever people are projecting, that doesn't resonate with you. Don't take that on. For some people, abundance might just be having X amount of money in their savings every month, or being able to eat out every week, or whatever that means for you. Then you know that level of abundance that you're attracting at that point resonates to this energy or this experience or this tangible feeling. It's going to be different for everyone. And I will say this, working with a lot of clients, it's almost like the more money they have, either the less they feel or the more petrified they are of losing it. It's very strange, but not really, depending on their upbringing and beliefs. But you want to just get to a point that your version of abundance and wealth is unique to you. You're not adopting what other people are thinking or saying. You just get to choose. And so if you can incorporate all the senses, I think that's always going to amplify it. Or if there's a certain brand of clothing you want to attract, and so you have your whole wardrobe, that's a vibe. If it's a certain type of meal service or types of food, or if you want to have your food delivered, you want to eat out every day, and you want to attract enough money to have that possible, you get to decide whatever that means for you. With regards to Cancerian energy, I spoke about this in the live. Everything permitted, I'll be reposting on everything. Any advice for vehicles? So this again, given that your whole car is a massive force of energy, and this is even before I knew anything about energetics, spirituality, astrology, but it's like, don't go to bed angry with your partner. You're just going to be festering that anger. Don't drive when you're angry or frustrated. If you like get in a fight in your car, pull over and like talk that out. If you're harvesting all this combative, negative, frustrated energy, whether it's a chip on the windshield, a flat tire, an accident, you're going to be attracting so much more because you're on so much energy. And so many other people driving as well may or may not be in the best headspace, or they're late, or they're frustrated, or their life isn't going as well. So you're around all these huge forces of energy, and they're harvesting that in their vehicle. And if there's other people or a full vehicle, that's only going to amplify. And so you're around, it's like, I don't remember, it's kind of like the red and the blue driver, not Tron, but something else. But that energy of like all these lights and all these energies surrounding you at once, you want to make sure that your energy is protected in that vehicle. So like you would protect your own energetic field in your own body at any given point throughout the day, grounding, protecting your energy, you can protect your car. I grew up in a very religious household, so we'd always kind of do like the cross. Before we would drive, we'd have a cross on the mirror. Or you could have an evil eye. You could have black turmeric in the trunk. You can do certain things that when you step into your vehicle, giving gratitude for arriving safely. Just taking that 10 seconds before you drive. Listening to amazing music, being happy while you drive, so that even if there's all this turbulence around you, you're being protected in your vehicle. But just from like a crystal standpoint, black tourmaline in the trunk always. Like I was on the road the past week with a friend and I had like black tourmaline in my duffel bag in the trunk. I'm like, we're always going to make sure that just the basics, 1, 2, 3 are there. Making sure that if you're in a fight with a loved one or you're feeling frustrated, to get grounded and resolve that before you get into your vehicle. And then if at any point you're feeling stressed or tired, like taking that moment just to pull over, readjust the energy, and then keep traveling accordingly. You can do this again before you go on a flight, blessing yourself, blessing the pilot, whatever you want to do to make sure that you're safe and feeling at peace of mind. I think that would just be good for any voyage or journey. From an astrological point of view, especially for short-term travel, let's say you have Mars or Saturn, not even talking about any aspects, but if you have a malefic planet in your 3rd house or your 9th house, that can sometimes make travel more difficult, per se. If you're a day chart, look to Mars. If it's in the 3rd or the 9th, it can make travel more difficult. If you're a night chart, Saturn in the 3rd or the 9th might make travel more difficult. I had a friend who had, I believe, Saturn in the 9th, and she just always had bad luck with flights, always would get delayed, would always miss flights without it, like out of her control. I have Jupiter in the 9th, and I always just have such amazing time on trips and like long distance travel. So again, you can kind of look to see if you have benefics or malefics in your 3rd and the 9th to then have even greater awareness and perception. Again, that'll change depending on the dignity and the aspects, but that is just a very intro astrologically to see with regards to travel. And that was a bit of a tangent, but it is what it is. The crystal for the car is black tourmaline. That'll be really good. Yes, thank you for everyone in the comments. Great. Any other questions at all before I let you all go? In terms of, someone asked what rituals you use to overcome feelings of being stuck in bed, habits, old cycling, self-sabotage. There is something to be said that, again, when I said that people wear their badge of victimhood as honor, or always seeing things as a self-fulfilling prophecy, you can really assess what parts of your life are not working or where you're not feeling joy or happiness and respond accordingly. And there's also something to be said of, like I said, with the fundamentals. I think Jim Carrey was the one who said this. Don't quote me on this. Like, I believe in depression and mental health illness, but I also believe in sunshine and water and exercise and having these tools that are consistently putting you in a better headspace. And again, giving yourself compassion and patience if you are feeling unwell or sick, especially if you're physically sick, not forcing yourself to continue working and burning yourself out more and more and more, and understanding the catalysts or the situations that led you to be in that place. I know for me, it's just taking on too much work or thinking that I can do everything with regards to my physical health, my work, family, friends, relationships, and trying to do everything at once. I know I'm getting to a breaking point and I have to readjust accordingly. So knowing your patterning and knowing how you approach energy and where you are susceptible to burnout or feeling that state of mental health, you're like, oh, I'm not eating properly, I'm just going to order Uber Eats again. It's like, well, no, you know that if you do that, it's going to amplify the possibility of your getting to that critical state. It's kind of like in a video game. You can tell if the character is like at red or about to faint. You will give it a potion or give it food or give it water to allow your avatar to get better. We are no different. You want to make sure that you are giving yourself the nourishment, very Cancerian energy, to get yourself in that greater state. And sometimes that is hiring a personal trainer, a coach, or a mentor to help you through those situations so you're not doing it alone. There's something to be said about working with people who have done this before that can hold space for you unconditionally. So the fundamentals, understanding what gets you that critical point, and investing in people that can help you. That is what I would recommend for that. And yes, thank you all for joining. Thank you all for showing up. Have a beautiful Sunday. Enjoy this Cancer season. There's going to be lots shifting for the better. Especially after that Capricorn full moon, I feel like it's like, whew, we did it. So please celebrate that. Celebrate everything you've learned. And I shall speak to you all very soon. Bye.